internet debauchery wasn't working, so had to wait around and make sure that when it came back on that it was stable, because I just uploaded a video, and as I was looking to go live, it suddenly turned off. So it was off for like, I don't know, 15 minutes or something like that. But it's been on pretty steadily now, so I guess it's safe to come on and do a live and talk to myself, because these lives have been tanking last 2 or 3 times. But on we persevere. Got some. I went to a party earlier. Had some chocolate cake. Looks like a cake on my face. What is that saying? I don't remember what that saying is. Yeah, that's egg on your face. I ain't got no egg on my face, sucker. That's cake. It's my. I met this right when I moved here. I met this American guy. He's got it was 15-year-old son, and today was his 16th birthday. So I went over there and did some karaoke, had some cake, and then came home, and evidently I was wearing the cake on my face the whole time. Good thing I signed on to this live so I could have a mirror. EJ. Hey, what's up, EJ? Hey, thanks for the congrats, man. Yeah, it's been great. Super blessing. He's fantastic. I love going through the whole milestones, and I love being a dad. It's great. It's absolutely suiting me quite nicely. So it's a blessing. True blessing. I didn't know how I would react, being my age or whatever, but it's been fantastic. It's great. He's a great kid. He's cute. I love him. And Lily's a great mom. My wife, she's a great mom. Very attentive. And it's all going really well. So thanks, man. I appreciate it. Really appreciate it. So that's the story for me. And today is my first... to the day when I arrived in Cebu City. I landed last year, today of last year. So it's been a good year, fantastic year. I never expected to stay this long. I didn't come here to stay this long, but it worked out that way, and it's still flowing and still trucking, so I'm still here. I plan on still being here, and I'm just riding that wave, and I don't even surf. I'm riding the wave with no surfboard, so I'm body surfing essentially, and we'll see what happens and what goes. If I could just make a couple $100 on YouTube, then for sure I would probably never leave. But thus far, I haven't been able to even make the minimum 100. So I need more traction, need more activity, and they say it's doable, so we'll see. I'm hopeful. So yeah, I love the Philippines. This is my home, regardless of whether if I have to go back and make some coins and then come back here. But for sure, the United States is no longer my home. I'm getting permanent residency here, and on that visa you can come and go. So it'll be good to establish permanent residency, and then I can officially say that I live in the Philippines forever. So I'm looking forward to that, and that'll be coming up here hopefully pretty soon. A little snag on that, our marriage license isn't available yet. When you get married here, they send off your marriage license to Manila, and even they tell you that it won't be here for like 6 months, maybe even longer. and it's not here yet. So you can't apply to any visas. Like a marriage visa is what I'm applying for. It's the 13A visa, and you need to have the official copy that comes from Manila to show that you are married. So as soon as I get that, then I can apply for it, and hopefully that'll come before I am out of funds, and that way I can get the permanent residency, go home, re-up a bunch of fundage, come back here and do it all over again. Now that I know how to do it, I wouldn't even spend as much. I wouldn't have to spend as much as I even spent, which I didn't spend that much. But just knowing the run of things, knowing the tricycles, and knowing the food and the prices and everything. It's just the more you stay here, the more inexpensive it becomes. Especially if you settle into a routine and you're not a traveling type of person like we're not. We're just kind of homebody people, and we're living just like a working class kind of couple, right? We live in a bao, and this is our neighborhood, and et cetera, et cetera. Just like if you lived in New York City or something, so that's what's up. We're just that speed of people. So yeah, man. But 1 year here today, and it's a fantastic feeling. Um, a lot of people are just kind of afraid to pull the trigger on it, and they don't really know. And I didn't know really how long. I anticipated being here 6 months, and just the way things unfolded, I realized that I could stay longer because I didn't need to spend as much as I thought that I would need to spend. I mean, we settled into a really inexpensive apartment. I bought a refrigerator. It was like $300, a little bit of furniture and stuff, and we went to Dumaguete, but we didn't really travel around or do anything. At first, I was going back and forth for the dentist and my teeth and whatnot, so we spent quite a bit of money doing that. Maybe even $1,000 just on transportation. So that was my biggest error. Was I should have bought a motorcycle from the jump. I would have saved. I mean, obviously, the motorcycle would have cost $1,000, and I spent probably $1,000 just on travel. So it would have been a way better idea to buy a motorcycle if you're staying long term, because you'll save money in the long run. Taxis add up, tricycles add up, jeepneys add up. I mean, even if you're spending 20 pesos on a trike, or I mean a jeep, you do that, that's 40 pesos, both round trip, and you do that every day for 365 days. That's not only it. You usually ride a jeepney to a place where you can catch a taxi, or you can catch the next mode of transportation that you need to get where you're going, and it just all adds up. Another vid. Hey, what's up, Saturn? Long time no see. Yeah, at that time I was spending more, and I think that was like really early on. But my budget video, where I think I did it up about 2 months ago, where I chronicled everything and showed exactly what we spend per day every day. I literally filmed everything that I bought for a week, and I posted that, and we spent $76 and some odd cents for 1 week, and that's not only food. That was including a taxi, that was including jeepneys, and that was even including me paying for other people's tricycle rides and other things. So my monthly living cost now is is really, really low. Um, in the beginning, we were eating out more. And when I said 500, if I don't really remember, because I've made like, I think 200, almost 270 videos now. So it all kind of flows together. A lot of times, if I'm just riffing, I'll say that off the cuff. I was probably thinking that I spent like 125 bucks a week on food, but for sure, I don't spend that much on food. But our monthly living costs now is probably in the $600 or $700 range, if not 500 for everything. I mean, we're talking my rent is 80 bucks, and now I don't have to pay internet, which might be a problem because when I went to go do live tonight, I didn't have a connection. But it's been solid up until, of course, I wanted to go live. But so here's a quick breakdown. Apartment's 80 bucks. Wi-Fi's free. Electricity is probably 30 bucks, and then food. Gosh, we spend. I don't even know. It's really, really low because, like I was saying when I first started this, is well, the kid's just on breast milk, so he's free to feed so far. So we got 6 months before he starts eating solids. But there's diapers, and I was gonna do the cloth diapers, because that's what I did in the States. I really don't like adding to all the plastic and stuff that's in landfills. So I ordered some cloth diapers off of Lazada, and they showed up, and they were like the size of, they were like for chipmunks or something. I don't even know how to use them. They're nothing like the cloth diapers that I had in the States. So right now I'm having to use the disposals, which is going to change eventually. I'm going to order off of Amazon. But I ordered things off of Amazon and they didn't show up. So it's just a lot of hiccups. I like the post office here. I'm still waiting on my debit card, my credit card, debit card to be sent to me. Hasn't come. I went to the post office multiple times. Then the Amazon deliveries from Amazon.com in America, because I was having problems with Lazada and Shopee and whatnot. So I thought I'd go to Amazon, and it turns out that they use the same exact couriers. Amazon uses the same exact couriers that Lazada and Shopee use. So all these dudes, when they see my address, they click on their app that I canceled the order, which I didn't do, because essentially they just don't want to come out there, because I lived way far back in the end of the barangay. That's why it was so quiet. That's why it was so nice, and all that. So I ordered all this stuff, and they canceled. So I went to Amazon. Same thing. It turns out they use the same carrier, which is called Ninja Van. And Ninja Van just canceled my order. They said that they tried, and I eventually canceled, which I didn't. We're here. I don't work. I don't have a job here, so I'm always here, mostly. And if not, Lily's here. So we were never not here, because one of the orders said that we weren't available, which was crap. We were available. Where did I move? I just moved closer to the street, which is a blessing and a curse in a sense, but ultimately I love it. I love it here because I'm more exposed, so I meet a lot more people, and I'm a pretty talkative person. And out there, I tend to get a little bit bored, and so I over here, it's great. I literally have a store. Like, I walk down my stairs, and this landlord, my landlord here, he owns the whole property, and he owns the property that the store is on. So there are tenants of his too, and the store has everything. It's got eggs, it's got water, it's got rice, it's everything except fresh fruit and whatnot, and fish and meat. So it's got all the dry goods stuff, with some kind of drinks. So it's right there. So it's a fantastic location. Um, More and more people are coming out of the woodwork, and it's just great. Um, let's see here. Yeah, Ninja Van. It's funny because I ordered a few things for my wife before I came here when she was still living in the province, and I was gonna order like pots and pans and dishes and have them sent to her so we would have it all ready. And they used Ninja Van, and she lived way out in the boonies, and Ninja Van was always reliable, but Flash Express was always the one that never delivered. So whenever we had Ninja Van, we were like, "Oh, Ninja Van." But since we've been down here in Cebu, whenever they use Ninja Van, they don't show up. So it's weird. It depends on the driver. If the driver is in like Cebu City and he gets the order and he sees Cordoba, he's gonna go, that's too far. I mean, check it out. They're not making very much money, right? So it's pretty much the more deliveries they do, the more cash they make. So they want to limit their route and the distance they have to travel. So they'll just cancel the order and say I canceled it and go on to the next one so they can make more money. And I get that, but at the same token, it sucks when you're on the other end of it. So, um, and yeah, for the family of three, Saturn, it's decent, but again, he's not eating, so he's just on the booby. So the rent the same. Actually, the rent here is 3,500 peso, and the rent at the other place was 4,000 peso. Um, so it's even cheaper here, and the place is like double the size. Um, I showed the apartment. I had that video where I came to advertise the apartment for this guy, Gary, who's American, and he was like, "You should rent this." He really wanted me to rent it, and I was like, "Nah, I'm good. I got a place and everything." But it just grew on me, and he kind of talked me into it. He didn't have to talk me into it, but it just made sense. By the streets, cheaper, et cetera, et cetera. They were gonna ask 6,000, but his wife knocked it down to 3,500. So I'm like, no brainer. I'm down. Hook me up. And yes, it is double the size of this space of the old space. Easy. It has a bedroom, a big bedroom, which is almost as big as the entire apartment. And then it's got this area, which is, you can call it a living room, I guess. And you know, and then there's a whole nother area behind this wall with the CR and a sitting area and a place for a table and the whole thing. But I'm sitting at a four-person table. So anybody out there wants to come visit Cebu, you can come visit me, and I'll hook you up with dinner, because I got a big, huge dinner table, and we can all eat and grub and talk. So it's great. It's bigger place, cheaper, and pretty cool. So Gear says we have J&T Express in the mountain province, and they deliver with riders. Never had a problem. That's awesome. I think it makes sense in a way that you haven't had a problem, because that's just the territory, right? They know that it's gonna be far. But here in the city, when these dudes get the orders, they're like, that's clear across the island. I ain't doing it. Yeah, and let's see. Oh, Saturn S is the whole Mactan Island. Is it the whole Mactan Island they feel is too far, or just your area? I'm not really sure. There is a guy here, a regular driver, and he lives in Cebu City, and he doesn't have a problem. It's just hit or miss, like depending on what driver you get. But if you get to know the driver, and this guy says, whenever you order from Lazada from now on, text me and I'll make sure he gets the package. So it's kind of like, you got to know the people or whatever. So I'm not really sure if it's just my area or what, but a lot of people that I've talked to in Lapu-Lapu also have the same problems too. So I think it's just, luck of the draw. So Not sure, Saturn, but I think so. And the store is included. Yeah, well, it's perfect. It's a perfect location to have that store right down the bottom of the steps. Um, um, yeah, there there's definitely that kind of scenario, Saturn, where you have the store right there because they're going to make money off of the tenants there, so it makes sense to put a store right there, right? Um, so that comes in pretty handy for a lot of people. Um, we got a question: how's the baby and the boss? Going fantastic. Um, it is a blessing. It's a wonderful experience. I'm so happy. Um, I'm really proud of my wife. She's amazing. She's getting no sleep and she's trucking on like a trooper. She's never complains and she's amazing. The kid's amazing, and I'm really blessed. So it's pretty awesome. Um, and um, You're here? Yeah, well, I have a Facebook page. Capitan says that he can visit. That'd be great. Message me on my Facebook page at Philippines Xtremes, and let's set something up. But as far as the Jack Daniels, I don't drink alcohol, but I can supply the Coke. You can drink the alcohol. Um, Saturn says a lot of these rentals want 2 months deposit up front, 1 month in advance. Do you think most would drop the deposit to 1 month? I don't know. It seems pretty standard. Now this guy, he only has first and last. But as far as like all the other apartments that I've looked at and saw even as I'm apartment searching, it all seems to say that. But if you're if you find the right person, you might be able to work that in, Saturn. But I can't really speak for it. I know it is pretty standard to ask for the 2 months deposit and 1 month advance. Essentially, it's first and last. Well, my first one that we actually went with wanted first and last plus a damage deposit. So that's how it went for that one. So not sure. I can't really speak for them, but you might be able to find somebody who would work with you. But of course, they're gonna want you to be longer term, anyways, if they're gonna work with you. So I don't know. Um, Gare, the delivery driver will call and do that kind of deal because it's becoming a little bit of a problem. So they're figuring out ways to like work the system. So then they can say, yeah, I called him and he didn't answer or whatever. But on my situation, on the last couple orders that I made, they didn't even call. They didn't even bother. So normally, I take things into consideration, but I actually did write a review on Lazada saying that, because it's frustrating, we bought a crib for our kid and it didn't show up. So we bought baby supplies and stuff and they didn't show up and we needed those things. So we ended up buying everything that was important, just local. But it's a hassle. So I wasn't too happy with it. So I kind of left not a unfriendly review, but not such a positive. It wasn't a positive review. I just said that they're liar. They lied. So Elizabeth says she's Filipino. Ako ay Americano. That's Tagalog. That's not Bisaya. I'm not sure how you say I am American in Bisaya. I went out to lunch with a a person, subscriber recently. It was great, great. And he started speaking Bisaya. I was like, nice, like he's in full sentences. Not, like super fluent, but he knew some sentences. And I was like, dude, nice. So I need to work on it. I know a few words, but I'm not really fluent at all. So Gare, we're similar. That's good. Hopefully you do better than I do, and you don't eat as much as I do, because I eat too much. Which is weird, because I don't feel like I really eat that much, but, the rice. I eat like a plate of rice with, all my ulam, and which is meat, be it fish or pork or chicken or whatever. But I think it's the rice that's the killer. Glenn says he enjoyed the Philippines when he was there in November. Nice. How long were you here for? A good amount of time? It's good that you got your feet wet. Was that your first time? It's the Philippines is fantastic. It's not for everybody. A lot of people can't get past the flaws that it has, because it does have flaws. As everywhere does, but to me, like I say in my videos, Philippines is a good trade for a lot of things that I despise from in where I'm from, and there's a lot of things that I despise where I'm from. So the Philippines just checks all those boxes, and the dislikes that I have about the Philippines are kind of nullified in comparison to the things that I hate in the States. And so that's awesome, Glenn, that you enjoyed it, because I really enjoy it too. And Garrett says he doesn't drink alcohol. You're the only sober Irishman. Yeah, man. It's not that I have an addiction to it, because I don't. I don't like the hangover. And it seems like whenever I drink, or whenever I had drank in the past, I would always feel like terrible, and then I'd have to work, and I didn't like the effect of it. It's essentially poison. I don't like what it's done to my friends and family, so I avoided it. And quite frankly, I do like to. Especially in the old days, I had vices, and I chose the green stuff as opposed to the wet stuff. And so for many, many years, I always had that. So everybody would drink, and I would puff, and I was absolutely fine with it, and I didn't have a hangover the next day. So that's what I did. And your wife eats more than you. And, well, I wish I could say the same, but my wife's, she eats like a bird. She didn't eat very much. Like, I'll go to the Carinderia today, and I bought a serving of vegetables and ginaling or something, and she like pours half of the veggies and half the ginaling, and I'm like eating her leftovers. So Dancing with Askell says not drinking is good, hangover makes me depressed. I just feel like depleted, super dehydrated. And but no, I made the conscious decision to not drink when I had my first kid, because I didn't want to replicate what my father and grandfather did to their children. So yeah. Yeah, and there's not really any alcohol that I enjoy the flavor of. There's one thing that in my 20s I kind of liked. What was it? I think it was Grand Marnier, which was kind of a more expensive alcohol, I think. So I liked a microbrew. I'd have a Hefeweizen with lemon, and then a Grand Marnier shot, and drink a couple of those, and I'm ready to go. Where's my keys? Let's go drive around the city and get arrested, kind of thing. So I just would act crazy, and I didn't want to get a criminal record and lose my license and go through all that kind of crap. So I just there were times when I should have got busted being so drunk driving and stuff like that, and having a kid calmed me down a lot. And as far as the motorbike, I don't know if you saw it, but recently I posted a video about the e-bikes, and I'm kind of turned on to one of those. Really affordable. Like I can get a, because I don't want to ride a motorcycle like a lot of people do here with a kid on it. I don't want to do that. It's not safe, obviously. Riding three people deep, me and her, my wife, and my son. It's not worth the risk. So these e-bikes, you can get like a 3 or 4 passenger e-bike, for like 40,000 pesos, in that range. So I'm debating doing that. So we'll see. I don't really need it right now, but moving forward, yes, I'm gonna want to do that in the long run. So Saturn says, "Gots to be honest, you're one of the dudes that does a bunch of research but doesn't hop on the plane. You were supposed to leave January 16th but canceled. Oh, bro, man, that's a bummer. Family and financial problems. I mean, yeah, that's a bummer, man. I mean, family and finances, that'll kill any big plan. So, I mean, but don't give up, man. Don't stop the dream. The dream is a viable dream, and you're not coming long term, right? You're just doing a visit. So start the process again. Start saving, and pull the trigger. If you're just coming here to check it out, you can do it relatively cheap. You got to buy the tickets in advance. Hopefully you got a refund for your other ticket that you didn't use, or a discounted refund, or maybe you lost a little bit. But yeah, man, you gotta go for it. That's all I can say is, we got one life to live, you guys. Just one life to live, and you don't want to live in regret. I just made a video where I went on that diatribe and I was ranting and raving about that, and you got to do it. You just have to do it. It's your life, and you're not getting any younger, and you got to do it. That's all I can say about it. You will love it. You either love it or you'll hate it, but you check it out. Definitely check it out. Gare says, car, multi-cab 4x4 on the farm. Around northern Mindanao on my Honda Wave. I definitely recommend one above, an e-bike or a scooter. Yeah, for sure. I mean, in hindsight, and that's the most ridiculous thing, because I already knew this. I've learned this, but I didn't think I was going to be here that long, you guys. So I didn't think it was necessary for me to buy one. But in hindsight, had I bought one, I would have saved significant amount of peso if I would have bought it. So if you guys come here and you're going to stay, even just, well, I don't know. It depends on what your plan is. If you're going to be staying here long term, or if you plan on staying here a good chunk of time and then returning, definitely buy one. And if you leave, either store it with a buddy that you meet, an expat guy, or somebody, pay them, like a couple thousand pesos just to hold on to it for you till you get back. Just keep all your documents and whatnot. Then you should buy transportation. You should. A lot of people are kind of worried about driving here, and I get that. Depending on where you live, the traffic can be treacherous. It can be an eye-opening experience, but it's an experience, and it's like the Wild West. You got to go for it, man. And yeah, Dances says, planning to stay there until I die. Right on. Me too. And I agree that driving is definitely manageable here. A lot of people are fearful of it, and I get that, but it's just like with anything, you know. You go on the internet, and these people will tell you they're going to pickpocket you, they're going to steal your cell phone, they're going to do A, B, C, D, F, G to you, and fear, 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 fear. But once you get your feet on the ground, your slippers on the ground here, um, you start to realize that these fearmonger people are fearmongers. They're just over the top with their fears. And, everybody told me I was going to get my cell phone stolen. I'm a vlogger. I walk around with my phone out, all the time. You know how easy it would be for somebody to come along and swipe it from me? I've been here a year. A year. And I have never, ever, ever had a problem. Not a problem. It's just fear. So you find that people are talking driving's crazy, you can't do it. Yeah, you can. Come out here and do it, and you'll find it's crazy. Yeah, it's a lot different, but you'll figure out how to do it. You're smart and you're resilient. Saturn says 20th rebooked for January. Oh man. So yeah, dude. Yeah, that's tough. If you got health issues and you got people that are dependent upon you, obviously that is a whole can of worms and makes it significantly more difficult. So I get it, man. But maybe if you can just sneak in somehow to get here for just 2 weeks or even 1 week, just to come check it out. It'll really give you, a reprieve on your life there. And maybe it'll put wind in your sails and help you want to actually go for it and figure out a way to do it. But I know that you have some understandable hurdles that are making it difficult for you. But man, yeah, that's tough. I hope for your sake that and for others that you can make it here, because we need people here that show a good example. There's a lot of people here that I met along the way that don't. They're really disgruntled and all they do is complain. And I learned a new term the other day. It was called jerkano. So jerkano. Now, if you don't know, kano means that's how they refer to Americans. And the part, jerk, is you're a jerk American. So, and they call them that because those are the Americans. And, they'll refer to pretty much any white guy or even a black guy as a kano until they know that you're from Britain or, Sweden or wherever. But essentially, most of the time, they think you're American. And so they'll call you kano until they don't know. But if you're one of those dudes that will argue over everything, the Filipino haggling over 20 pesos, they refer to you as jerkano, which basically means you're a jerk American. So we need the good guys to come over here and set a good example. So I'm doing my best, you guys. I'm trying to fight that whole stigma. No, but really, I love it here, and I just go with the flow, and I get along really well with most people. And the ones that I don't get along well with, it's them, and I still love on them, and I try to get them to warm up to me, and usually they do. And the ones that don't, they just stay on the edges, and they pretty much just avoid me. but that's very, very, very few and far between. Very few and far between. And, having been here a year, a lot of the dudes that will, kind of scowl at me as I go by, they see me enough times and they see me interacting with other people and then they warm up to me. So it's you make or break your experience with the locals. And your attitude can make or break, how they respond to you. So, um, yeah. So just be, open and kind, and helps to, have a little humor. A lot of times they won't get your humor. Don't do sarcasm. They don't get sarcasm. But, um, if you've got a core group like Gare here is saying, he mostly associates with Filipino. You can find ones, especially if you hang out with them long enough, they'll start to get your, humor and whatnot. So, um, you get ads in Tagalog. That's funny. So, well, at least you armed yourself with a lot of info. Hopefully, you'll be able to apply all that knowledge that you gleaned and get your booty over here and put all that research to use. But I understand that it's hard. I get it. But I'm still rooting for you. I'm still rooting that you can come here and at least check it out for a short period of time. You can do it. You can do it. I had a guy that was talking to me and he had $600 a month and he was going to try to stay here for 6 months and he saved up like $5,000 or something. I'm like, yeah, bro, I don't think you can pull that off. But at the same time, I was saying, come here and ride it out. Try to stay as long as you can, even if it's only 3 months. He said, okay, he bought a ticket, and then I never heard from him again. But I'm not sure what happened with him. Maybe he only made it a month on that $5,000. I'm not really sure. But I'm the kind of guy that will say, dive in, because ultimately, you only live once. So go for it. That's what I always say anyways. But it can turn out to be kind of hectic or a train wreck. Nice. So you've got some history under your belt there, Gare. That's what, 13, 14 years. So it's changed a lot in that time frame, hasn't it? My first trip here was about 10 years ago. So you got a little bit more time, or I don't know how long you stayed, but I've stayed good long chunks of time. But that's significant. If you've been coming back and forth, you have some good experience under your belt. That's for sure. And yeah, it can be addictive. That's for sure. Me, I'm addicted to it for how should I say it? I don't know. I'm addicted to it because it's more the type of lifestyle that I want to live, and now that I know the difference when I'm in the States, I just find that I'm longing to not be there, and because I know of a better place that I like better. So I'm just always longing to be back here. Yeah, you're still young, and you got a ways to go before you can settle in forever. But you're not that much younger than me. I've got about 4 years on you, and I'm not retired either. But my latest video is I lived in Cebu for 1 year on 10K, and that's true. So, um, you call it a shoestring budget or whatever you want to call it, but it's totally doable to come here and live good stretches of time for a lot less money than people say you can. Um, I have a Facebook group, and they debate it on there all the time about how you cannot live here on $1,000 a month, and if you do, you're gonna hate life, and you should just stay home. Well, that's ridiculous. Live your life, experience it, do what you can with the money that you can, and die with memories, not with regret. Um, so you live in Mindanao, and 800 a month is too much. Nice. Yeah. Next year will be less than 10K because I know what I'm doing, and I just ended up. I mean, I just shaved off like, how much did I shave off moving? I shaved off 2,000 pesos, and probably more than that because the store right at the bottom of my stairs, saves me from having to ride transportation because it has most of the things that I needed, and then I'm closer to the market, and I can walk. Like today, I walked down to the Carinderia, and I got some food and walked home. I didn't pay for any transpo. So I'm just moving here saved me. I shaved off transportation costs. I shaved off 2,000 pesos a month just in the difference in apartments. The one thing that's why I'm gonna walk more from here, because I always walked from back there in the sticks to almost to where this apartment is, and sometimes I would walk the whole distance. And Saturn, I'm not sure, man, because I know you were with me from pretty much the beginning. So in the beginning, when I first got here, when I was doing my teeth, we were riding into Cebu all the time, and we were eating at like Shakey's Pizza, and we were eating, at Jollibee and things like that quite frequently. So, when I said my food budget back then, it was factoring in those expenses. So after I got my teeth, I don't even know how long it's been since I've been to Cebu City. I think when I went to the last time I went to Cebu City was when I got back from Dumaguete. But before that, when I actually went to Cebu City just for the day, it was to go to Living Abroad's meet and greet where I saw one of the dudes that's on this chat right now. So I don't really travel around, and we just eat at home more. So I think that in the beginning the food budget was higher because we were eating out more, and now we just primarily just cook. And if I eat out, I eat at a Carinderia, and a Carinderia is kind of like a street food place. It's almost like a restaurant, but it's outdoors. Most of them don't have really big seating, so you're mostly just grabbing the food to go and taking it home with you. And I literally, when I go there, most of the time I can spend under $3 for a big huge meal of food. And some of the Carinderias are untrustworthy, and believe me, I figured out which ones are trustworthy and which ones aren't trustworthy the hard way. And I'll just leave it at that. You eat it, it doesn't settle right with you, you're in the CR, right? But this Carinderia down the road, um, been fine, and $3, even less. Man, the other day I went there and I spent, what was it, 85 pesos for a meal for two people. A meal. That's veggies, a little meat dish, veggies that we split because it's a nice portion. Um, some type of ulam, they call it in Tagalog. I'm not sure about Visaya, but some kind of food with a protein in it, be it fish or whatever, and yeah, less than $2 sometimes. But if I get like something a little bit fancier, like I'll get a ginaling, which is like it's kind of a ground pork with potato, and it's pretty tasty. I'll get a ginaling, and sometimes I'll get this other fish thing for Lily, and I never top out over 200 pesos ever at that place. So very, very affordable, very affordable. So yeah, that's a big change on the food bill. And I never go to a chain supermarket. Although, I mean, I do. I'm sorry, I do, but I don't go to the westernized one. I go to a local one down here. It's called Gasano, but it's a small Gasano. It's not a big, huge one, and I get just a few things from it that you can't find, like in my immediate area. So like diapers and stuff at the pharmacies, they're more expensive than if you go to the supermarket. So I'll go to the supermarket, which is not really a supermarket. It's kind of a crappy store, actually. Selection isn't that great. And I'll buy that. Sometimes I'll buy peanut butter there because you can't find it, in the wet market or whatever. So I just buy a few things there. But, it's like once a week, sometimes less. And Guerra owns his. Yeah, I remember you tell me that you grow your own stuff, which saves a bunch of money, and I'm envious of you. I've always had a garden. I've always grown, and that is the best way to save money, and it's the healthiest because you know what you're putting into your veggies, you know what you're putting into your crops, and yeah, so that's awesome, and that definitely saves. And yeah, you were telling me that you do a lot of bartering, which is fantastic. And I agree. Water is a problem. Like I will have problems if I buy rice. I tend to not buy rice from the carinderias because of the water that they might use to be boiling it. And you would think boiling the water would clean it, but man, I'm pretty sensitive to water. So yeah, water has always been a problem for me here in the Philippines. When I came here, in what year was that? I think I'd already been here, but then I came back, and in 2016 or 15, somewhere in there, I was always buying water in the big blue bottles from a water station, saying that it was mineral water and that it was purified, and they had the big filter and everything. I got Giardia from the water, a waterborne parasite, which means they weren't really filtering it, or their filters were really old, and it was pretty brutal. It was very, very brutal. I didn't know what was wrong with me, and I kept buying from that water station, so I was just perpetuating it, and it kept going on and on for a couple months until I finally realized that it was the water, because I excluded everything. I said, okay, I'm not going to buy that type of food because it's messing with my stomach. And it was none of that stuff. I narrowed it down to it was the water. Went and got checked out, and I had a waterborne parasite called Giardia, and I had to just stop doing the water, and I just bought bottled water, which can is a bigger expense. So it's tough. It's tough on the water situation, indeed. I gotta kick this person out. Uno momento, por favor. Sayonara. Adios. You're not funny. We don't think you're funny at all, in fact. Hasta la vista. So, but no, yeah, water can be brutal, and it's something you have to be careful of. And, you know, you'll see these people sitting outside of Jollibee, and they're selling, you know, like a Crystal Springs bottle of water, you know, like this size bottle of water. Do not buy them. I don't do it, okay? It looks like it's a bottle of water, right? It's sealed, everything. And when you crack it open, it has been sealed. Do you know that these guys have machines where they can put these plastic caps on, and they're just using pump water from the well? And I learned that the hard way. Hadn't drank any water. We were going to go to Jollibee, and we did some shopping before, and I knew I was feeling dehydrated. So I thought, even though we're going to Jollibee, I'm going to have, you know, some water. So I bought this, not this, but I bought a bottle of water right outside Jollibee. And as I'm standing in line, I slammed it down before I went into Jollibee. And as I'm standing in line, I knew immediately that there was something wrong with that water. It wasn't even 3 minutes. I mean, we're talking like as soon as I swallowed it, I chugged it. I chugged the whole thing down in like 2 drinks. And as soon as I finished it, crumpled it up, put it in the trash, I knew something was wrong. And boy, was something wrong. So we won't go into that, but a river ran through me. And yeah, so if you're going to buy bottled water, make sure you buy it from a reputable source, a grocery store, or a sorry store that you know caters to, you know, your neighborhood and doesn't do anything funky. And if you go to it long enough, you'll see that they have a case of it. So, as the locals say, charge to experience. Yeah, no doubt. So, I mean, not necessarily just a supermarket, but as EJ says, he knows it's a force to be reckoned with, and that's a force you don't want to be reckoning with, believe me. Because, you know, a lot of these CRs, like if you're in an emergency, you guys, if something like that happens to you and you're out and about and you got to go all of a sudden because you ate something or drank something that was tainted, some of these CRs are scary as crap. I mean, the toilets don't even have seats on them, and you got to go in there and do your business, you know? I've walked in, you know, and some of the stalls don't even have doors, and I've seen how kids are doing it. They're just standing on the toilet, squatting and doing it over it, you know? It's nothing you want to have happen to you. And I guarantee you, it's probably going to happen to you because it happened to me in Manila. I went to a Wendy's years ago. I went to a Wendy's and the same thing happened to me. You'd think that, you know, oh, it's Wendy's. It's an Americanized, you know, westernized joint and it's all good, right? Well, no. You know, I got like a Dr. Pepper. No, I got a root beer or something like that. And it was the ice cubes in the drink that caused the whole problem. So it's no fun. So as I've said before in one of my videos way back, carry TP in your pocket or something like that if you're planning on consuming things, which, by the way, I don't really follow that advice because I just know not to do stuff. But sometimes you're left in a lurch and you're ended up, you know, in, you know, a 9/11 kind of situation, 911 for, you know, for consuming the wrong thing, and it can be a nightmare. So yeah, yeah, you got to be careful. Definitely have to be careful with the water there, Saturn. Yeah. Out here, the Gisano in Cordova is really small compared to all other Gisanos that I've been to. This one here is tiny, and the selection sucks. But I don't buy my water there. I buy my water. But lately, I've been buying it from a Sorry, and I buy the big 5 liter ones, and then sometimes they have the 7.5 liter ones. So yeah, and I only cook with filtered water. Like if I'm gonna make rice, it's cooked with that. I never ever cook even just with the tap because I can't handle it. Filipinos, they can do it because they're used to those things. It's like, they become immune. It's like I've known Filipinos and even brought a Filipino over to the United States. And as soon as they got over there and were experiencing new germs, they were getting sick too because, what they've adapted to in their environment is different than what's over there. Well, it's the same thing for us. If we haven't been drinking, pump water for our whole lives, we're going to suffer the consequences of doing so. It's just common sense, right? So yeah, pure gold. I used to go to one up there in Luzon. It's pretty cool. And Filipinos, they have iron stomachs. Yes, sir. I mean, in the sense that like I said, they're just used to the things because they grew up here, right? But man, you're not kidding, man. I got my new neighbor across the street here. That dude is a rock star. He's like 65 years old, and he starts drinking first thing in the morning, and he drinks all day long, and he does construction out there, and he'll like pass out in the chair at about 4 o'clock. He'll wake up, and he'll get up, and I'll hear him in there, pounding and hammering away and sawing. He'll go to like midnight. And he wakes up and wash, rinse, repeat. Every day he's doing that crap. It's crazy. Crazy. So, they're resilient, strong, nothing but respect. Do I lug the 7-liter bottles back? 7-liter, I've got one in there. It's not as big and as heavy as you would think. The 10-gallon liters, it's liters, not gallons. The 10-gallon big blue bottles, no, I have those delivered. But then I got to carry them up the stairs. But those are heavy. But the 7 one has a little handle on it, and you can carry that pretty easily. Just walking. The 10-gallon, or is it 5-gallon? Crap, I don't know. The big, huge blue bottles, whatever it is, those suckers are pretty heavy, and I have those delivered, and those are 20. And again, it's a water station, and I got sick from a water station years ago, but I only use that water for when I'm cooking rice. Pretty much. 40 pesos each, really? Ours are 20 each. Delivered. Yeah. But maybe, they're delivering to you further away. But, I just got 2 of them day before yesterday, and they were 20 pesos each, the big blue bottle. It's just, prices are different as you search around. Like, your bananas are probably cheaper. It's funny, I buy bananas from a guy who's from, you got a long ways to go. But the banana place that I've been going to lately, because, they come and go, so you can never really have a solid, reliable source. The store will close, or they won't have a budget, and they're down for a couple weeks. Then you got to go find somebody else. But lately, I've been buying from a family, this guy and his kids, who are from Mindanao. They bring their bananas from Mindanao to sell them here. because they can make more money here. So I bet you your bananas are cheaper there than my bananas are per kilo. You don't buy saging? Do you grow it or you just don't eat saging? And by the way, you guys, for others that don't know, saging is banana in Bisaya. I think Tagalog too. Just pick them. Nice. That's the best way to go. Yeah, definitely. So, yeah. That's the beauty of being a farmer and having your own supply. So you're saving money there. I'm paying from those people. They're cheaper than the market because they're not paying for a stall. But it's 65 per kilo from those guys, and they're the smaller ones. I forget what they call them. They all have names, different names, but they're pretty nice size. They're like this maybe, and 65 is cheaper than what they sell in the market. The market is like, gosh, it can be like 80 pesos sometimes, or even more. But bananas, I don't know, if you're from the United States and you're eating bananas there, I don't know, when I used to eat bananas when I was a kid, you could get pretty good bananas. But, now they pick them way too soon. They're never sweet and they're always green. And then they're like viable to eat for like 1 or 2 days and then they turn yucky, But here, I look at a banana and the skin will have like spots all over it, and I'm thinking, oh, that's going to be disgusting. But then you open it up, and it's fine. It's sweet. It's delicious. Yeah, I find a lot to rent. I've contemplated it, but man, I just, for now, nah, I'm not going to do it. But eventually, I just want to have my own place, So when I get my own place, I'm going to be growing. I'm going to be digging. I'm going to be doing all kinds of things with it. For sure. I'll have animals, the whole deal. So I hear you. 65 is expensive. Yeah. See? But here, it's 65 is a good deal. In the market, you're paying, like I said, upwards of 70, 80, 100 sometimes, just depending on, their stock. But these people bring them on the ferry from Mindanao, and they go back and forth. They'll bring a big, huge supply of them, go back, get more, and so they're able to sell for more here. And, they're just taking the ferry themselves, so I guess there's more profit to come to Cebu. They have a big banana farm, so yeah. But yeah, I'm looking forward to being able to grow myself. Definitely. I've always grown gardens and whatnot, and I'm looking forward to it. Not always. Like in my 30s, I didn't really, not until I was like late 30s, but. I grew things. I just didn't grow a lot of food. But as I got older, I grew all kinds of things: potatoes, peppers, eggplant, cucumbers, blah 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 blah. Yeah, because Mindanao is like a huge source for it. So, pretty awesome. A lot of stuff goes to Manila. And as these guys were saying, they also ship things to Manila. And they have friends that also come to Cebu. So it's not just them in Cebu. They've got, people from their farm in other markets too, selling things that they grew in Mindanao here in Cebu too. So. Because Cebu and Manila are the two biggest cities, right? Right. Sorry, I forgot to mention that Lakitan is also a variety of saging, aka banana. So, There's a lot. Like if you get a bigger banana, I've heard them call them Americano bananas. There's a lot of different names for them. So that's what's up. Hurt my back a couple weeks ago, and for some reason, the worst thing to do for it is to sit for long periods of time. So it's kind of starting to kick in when I'm feeling tight. So forgive me for my little weird stretches, but that's what's going on. Right? Yeah. I've heard it joked as what you're alluding to. The bigger banana, Americano. I'll let you guys figure that one out. Yeah. Sweet. Right on, you guys. I'm glad that this, we don't have very many people in here, but it's been, good flow of info and talk. So I appreciate you guys for that. Because last couple of times I've been coming on live and there's just been nobody talking. So this live has been better. And unfortunately, there's not very many people in here, so I think the roll call will be kind of paltry. Oh, you watched the electric scooters? Yeah. No, I'm not on the fence about it. My issue is, well, I got a couple of issues, but right now I don't have anywhere to park it. I've kind of talked to a neighbor, and he'll let me park it on his property for a fee. But we don't really have a huge need for it now that we've moved. But we will soon, in like 4 or 5 months. We'll definitely have a need for it, bigger need. But right now, it's just not a pressing issue. But I just yesterday saw a news report on Google as I was about to open my email. It gives me it gives me links to articles and stuff. And I never ever click on them, but this one said the LTO is debating registration for e-bikes. So I think since they're becoming so prevalent on the roads, they're seeing that they can make money off of them, for the registration and stuff. These things take time. So if they do implement that law, it won't be immediate. But there's talk of it. So that kind of sucks because you don't need a license or registration as it stands right now. So I'm not on the fence about it. I was mostly, one of my subscribers asked me to make the video on a live like 3 weeks ago. So I did that mostly for him and for a couple other people. And but I'm not really in the market for it. But it's appealing. It's definitely appealing, and it's affordable. Definitely affordable. Yeah, I mean, registration and getting it all legal. It's not expensive. But it's just streamlined. Like, you can just walk in, buy it, and go. So, it depends. I mean, I know a guy here, my neighbor down the road here, which I've been going to his store for a whole year. he has it's an e-bike, but it's more like a truck, and he owns one of the bigger Sorry stores in town, in our neighborhood. I mean, in our barangay, and he paid $40K for his. He's had it for over a year, and he absolutely loves it. He has no bad things to say about it. Whereas I had a comment on my e-bike video about some guy who was saying cut the time down, battery time down in half, the distance in half, everything in half, and the battery life, and blah blah blah. So, you know, some people have really good experiences with it, and some people have really bad experiences with them, or semi bad. But the guy who said he had bad experience, he has two of them, so he must like them enough, right? But yeah, they're just kicking it around. It's just chatter right now. We'll see if they actually do require it down the line, but you know, everything moves at the speed of slow as far as the bureaucracy goes. So I wouldn't anticipate it actually going into effect for quite a while, if it even gets that far. Depending on a neighbor for parking, how about charging? Yeah, the same thing. He would allow me to charge it there too, but I'm not really gonna even consider doing it right now. That was just mostly because people were encouraging me to profile it because they had been hearing about them. So that's why I did it. And then while I was doing it, I was kind of like, "Whoa, really? These are that cheap?" You know, because I really had no idea how much they cost. I was surprised. Yeah. But here at my new place, there's literally no place to park it. I could park a little scooter in the what do you call it? It's not a porch, but it's kind of like a porch. So you bought a Honda Wave used? Yeah, that's a good way to go for sure. For sure. Yeah, the American dude I know in the neighborhood, he bought his last bike used for a little bit more than that, but similar. I think it was like 7,900, and he had to do a couple of things on it, like you. I think he spent less, like 1,800 peso, and he's trucking around on it for months with no problem. Just recently he had a carburetor issue. It was leaking gas. But he had a local dude fixing it right there in the gym, and we stood there and talked to him while he fixed it. So I think he paid like 100 pesos to the dude. So, yeah. Definitely a good way to go. As long as you can get all the paperwork. I know that can be an issue. You buy a used one, and a lot of times they don't have titles or whatever, you know. But I haven't really ran into that myself, so. Right? Yeah. And you're right, Saturn. They're using the lead ones, so that brings down the cost significantly. So you know, there's good things and bad things about it, pros and cons. But the guy that commented, he lives near me, and he bought one, and he loves it. So, you know, it's working for some people, and then you know other people maybe not. And yeah, get into a cheap used one and get on the road. Voila, you're off and running. So that's a great way to go, is to buy used for sure. So, right on, fellas. I think I'm gonna call it a night. it was a good chat. I think, good hour and 20 minutes with some good discussion, some good info, and it's great to hear from you, Saturn, after all this time, and definitely appreciate your input, Jer, and amping to you too as well, my brother. And hopefully, if I ever get to Mindanao, we'll still be, talking. Um, we'll still be talking, and maybe we can hook up for lunch or whatever. My wife is from Iligan City, and she has family members there, so we eventually hope to get over there. Not anytime soon, but eventually down the line, 6 months, a year, something like that. So maybe if we stay in contact, we could hook up. Um, and that would be great. So yeah, Saturn, good to see you. And I do the lives. I try to do them. I had a hiccup, with the internet when I first moved here, and then tonight it took me about 30 minutes to get on. But I try to I try to do a live every Saturday night at 10:30 p.m. Philippines time. So if you're available, check me out and stop by and we'll chat it up. So sounds great, Gear. Right on, Saturn. Everybody take care, and hopefully we see you next week. And everybody have a great week, and stay safe out there. Eat healthy. Be positive to everybody, and spread the goodness, because it's all about that. So I appreciate everybody, man. Y'all take care, and we'll see you soon, I hope. Right on. Take care, brothers.